As a child, I had always been fascinated by abandoned places. There was something intriguing about exploring the remnants of what used to be, imagining the stories of the people who once inhabited them. My friends and I would often go on adventures, sneaking into abandoned buildings and daring each other to venture deeper into the darkness. But one day, we stumbled upon a place that was unlike any we had ever seen. It was an old mansion, nestled deep in the woods. It looked as if it had been abandoned for years, the paint peeling and the windows broken. But there was something else about it that made it feel ominous, as if it were hiding a dark secret. Of course, we couldn't resist the urge to explore it. We made our way inside, the floorboards creaking beneath our feet. It was dark, but we had brought flashlights with us. As we made our way through the rooms, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. But we pressed on, determined to uncover the secrets of the mansion. That's when we found it. In a hidden room behind a bookshelf, we found a collection of journals. They were old, the pages yellowed and the ink faded. But as I began to read them, I realized that they belonged to a woman who had once lived in the mansion. Her name was Elizabeth, and she had been married to the owner of the mansion. But as I continued to read, I discovered that her husband had been abusive. He would lock her in a room for days on end, depriving her of food and water. She had written about her struggles to survive, and her desperate attempts to escape. But then, the entries became darker. Elizabeth began to write about the strange occurrences that had been happening in the mansion. She heard voices in the night, and saw shadows moving in the corners of her vision. And then, she wrote about the ghostly figure that had begun to haunt her. I shuddered as I read her words, feeling a chill run down my spine. But I couldn't stop reading. Elizabeth had written about her growing fear, and her belief that the mansion was cursed. And then, the entries stopped. We left the mansion, shaken by what we had discovered. But I couldn't stop thinking about Elizabeth, and the horrors she had endured. I did some research, and discovered that her husband had died mysteriously shortly after she disappeared. The mansion had been abandoned ever since. But as I lay in bed that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. And then, I heard a voice, whispering my name in the darkness. I sat up, heart pounding, but there was no one there. And then, I saw her. Elizabeth's ghostly figure, standing at the foot of my bed. I never went back to that mansion again. But I could feel her presence, following me wherever I went. And even now, years later, I can still hear her whispering my name in the night.